Hey guys, how's it going? Like Butter here, and today I want to give my overall opinions on 1.7. I know a lot of people have been asking me, is 1.7 good? Is it bad? With the console PTS not out yet, it has only been 2 weeks of the PTS, and a lot of people haven't had a chance to try it yet. But I want to give my first impressions, my opinions. I've now sunk about 10 hours into the PTS, I would say, between like my stream and off stream and recording videos and whatnot. And I want to give my overall opinions of the patch. And if you are watching this video because you're wondering about getting back into the game, I want to give you kind of both sides of it and let you know if I think that 1.7 is the time to come back. So 1.7 is adding what I like to call foundation content. Now what foundation content is basically content that comes out that will better the longevity of the game in the long run. Now this could mean Division 1, Division 2. It sets these things that I think should have been in the game from the start. Honestly, I think that like global events and modifiers and these things should have been in the game from day one. I think it would have spiced up the content. It would have made everything so much better and so much more replayable and so much more enjoyable. And I think it would have been fantastic if that was a thing, right? Obviously, they had other problems and couldn't get these features out at launch, so it's good that it's coming now. But okay, and I don't want people to think, the problem with the Division is I kind of flip-flop a lot with it. Sometimes I'm very, very happy with it. Other times I'm kind of just, you know, getting bored of the same thing over and over. So I want to give both sides of it because I don't want to, like, you know, make people mad thinking that I'm flipping and flopping back and forth. The problem with these things that they're adding in 1.7 is that they're going to be very temporary. I think that the global modifiers and the modifiers that you can choose on missions are going to be cool. However, there's only a select amount of missions that will give you that extra global event credits that you can use on caches, which we get caches all the time. So it's just like opening caches, opening caches. So opening these new caches, considering there's no new weapons and no new gear, is not going to be anything special. Just throwing a PNG of a folder onto a gear set and giving it a little bit higher stats and calling it classified, to me, is not new content. So 1.7 doesn't add any new content. What it does is it's going to allow you to play the existing content in a different way. So overall, in my opinion, after playing for about 10 hours on the PTS, I think that 1.7 is going to be a very good update for the casual players who play this game a couple of hours a week. Nothing serious. They get on, they loot for a little bit, and then they get on a couple days later, and they just don't have a lot of time to play. I think for those casual players, for those PvE players, that this patch is going to be fantastic for you guys. It's going to give you little things to do, like run around and shoot tires and go for, you know, crazy large amounts of damage on headshots. And the modifiers are super cool. I think some of them are a little OP, but I think that's how they want it to be. I think for a week per month, they want you to kind of feel really empowered. And, you know, the one modifier that was in the incursion, we almost two-man Dragon's Nest until I just kind of was sick of doing the last part over and over again. We two-man Dragon's Nest because of how the modifier works when you're with a team. The type 2 threat, I want to say it's called. Basically, if somebody shoots an NPC in the head, it marks them for about a second. And if another squad mate shoots that person in the head as well, it's an instant kill. And that was kind of cool because you could go through and you could basically just destroy the competition. However, there's really no new gear to go for in 1.7. Those things would be really cool if there were new things to farm. And I understand that this probably just isn't in the works. You know, this just isn't something that they could do in the time frame and the budget, you know, that they have. And I understand that, and I respect that, and I think that 1.7, like I said, for those casual players that this game has kind of catered to over time, I think this patch is going to be really, really fun for them. But you got to remember, most of the interesting things are coming in the global events, and the global events are only going to last a week long. then we are back to the same old stuff. All we're really gonna get is commendations and new, like, you know, cosmetic items, which is cool. I like cosmetic items, but what good is it showing off cosmetic items if, like, there's nothing else to go for, is what I'm trying to get at. I really hope in the future they have some sort of idea for upping the exotics. I know people, listen guys, I know people grinded for hours and hours for your exotics, but what good is your exotic going to be if there are things that are better than it, right? So classified gear is going to have much higher stats than your exotic gear is going to. Even if they just had to upgrade the exotic gear and come out with a new wave of them, like maybe you switch it up, maybe you have Barrett's holster, maybe you have, you know, Pharaoh's harness. I don't know. You could like switch it up and you could change it and come out with new exotics and make classified versions of those exotics. I think classified exotics would be good because it would bring them up to par with the classified gear sets. Now I understand gear sets are supposed to be like, you know, empowered when you use them together, but I also think that high-end builds shouldn't be completely left in the dust just because of these classified sets. And I know it's going to take a while to get a full set of classified gear. But to be perfectly honest with you, I don't see any reason not to run, you know, classified gear and run like a hybrid build with the Ninja Bike backpack, which, by the way, one of the best things about this update that I'm really excited for, and that should tell you something about this update. Like, I think this update is cool and that they're adding new stuff, but if the most exciting thing about the update for me is a rework of an old exotic, like, you can just tell that this patch isn't going to have a lot of content. So if you're a player like me who likes to grind hours and feel progression for hours and actually, you know, do these long sessions and feel really good about getting super rare items, I don't think this patch is going to interest you. I really don't think it is. This patch is much more for the casual players, and that's okay because that's kind of what the division has kind of pushed towards. And I get it, the game's over a year and a half old, and there shouldn't be, you know, gear that you have to grind hours and hours and hours for, and people made that very clear with the Barrett's chest piece and the skull gloves and all the other stuff, and the urban MDR is the one I hear the most, people grinding for that and never getting it. But for someone like me who has hours and hours and hours in the game, you know, those things were always something to strive for. It was something to make me get on and grind for, and there's just nothing to grind for anymore. And I don't think these classified gear sets are going to be a big enough difference for me to really care to grind them. So I think that 1.7 is going to be a good patch for people that are, you know, playing the game. I just can't see it being a patch that I'm going to play for hours on end on stream and, like, you know, be able to just play it every single day. I'm not going to be able to do that. I will still make videos because I believe that making videos is very casual with how easy it is to get gear. I can easily just get on, get a build together, recalibrate some stuff, and then make a video on a build and just basically tell you guys, okay, this is my build, this is what I would like to have min-max, or, you know, this is what's new coming to the division. Like, I still want to do videos because obviously videos still do very well. You guys seem to really like them, and that's good, and I get a lot of comments from people saying that they like the videos. However, streaming is a completely different thing. With streaming, you have to sink a lot of hours into it, and I just can't see myself in 1.7 like grinding for, like, you know, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours a day like I did when the game came out. Unfortunately, the division is just not that type of game anymore, and I respect that and I understand it, and I know that they have to cater to the casual audience since that's kind of like all that's left. A lot of the hardcore players kind of have moved on from the game because there's really nothing to go for. And if some of the masks look really dope and I really want them super bad, I'll probably grind some commendations. But after I get that, you know, you can only show off the mask so much. The thing about a looter shooter is that you need new items to loot, and I just really don't feel like this patch is giving enough for a looter shooter for people to want to come back and play it and show interest in the game again. Now, if you haven't played since like 1.2, the game I think would be really fun for you because they did a lot of good job with the balance balancing. Like, there's more gear sets that are viable now than there ever has been. I do like the new classified sets. The 5 and 6 piece bonuses are definitely pretty cool. You can see I'm using strikers in this video, and I'm getting like this constant heal over time. And they said that they want these sets to be really strong, and I get that and I respect it. But with them only releasing 3 gear sets per, month, basically what they're going to do is they're going to release the first 3 on the first global event, and then a month after that, they'll release the second 3. And their plans are to release a gear set, classified version of every gear set. But we need new exotics. We need new gear sets. We need new items to go for, new weapons, new exotic weapons. Like, we need new gear to go for, and we definitely need eventually a gear score increase, because I understand that the reason that they didn't do a gear score increase is because there's technically no new gear. So the classified gear is kind of like a way of going halfway to the next gear score, but not making it completely necessary. I would really like to see a gear score increase in the future. I mean, people have been begging for it for months. And I remember a long time ago when I was completely min-maxed and I had all the builds I wanted, that I knew that a gear score increase was needed for the hardcore players, not for the casual players, for the hardcore players. So I really hope they add some sort of infusing system or make crafting viable again for the future to make something like that more reasonable. Maybe if you deconstruct a certain exotic a certain amount of times, you learn the blueprint for that exotic, and then you can craft it at the higher level. I don't know. I just want to see them figure out a way where they can merge the casual and the hardcore players, because right now, casual players are really going to enjoy this patch. I don't think hardcore players like myself will really be able to sink a ton of hours into it. But anyways, I've been rambling a little bit too long. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop the video a like. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.